Hello, and the NBA Finals between the Warriors and the Cavs. The final score was, 110-102 for the Warriors, who take a three-game series lead, 3 games to 0 series lead. And this game was highlighted by what was, I think, going to be one of the all-time great finals performances from Kevin Durant. 15 points, 43 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists on 15 of 23 shooting, and he was just unbelievable all game. There was a lot of things to get through, so let's try to keep this one concise, and we'll go through it quarter by quarter, starting with the first. So the starters for Golden State, Curry, Clay, KD, Draymond, and JaVale stayed the same. And the Cavs starters, George Hill, J.R. Smith, LeBron James, Kevin Love, and Tristan Thompson also stay the same. So to start the game, the Cavs were getting almost everything they wanted. They were executing on both ends really well. 2 wide open threes to start the game, one from Love and one from JR, off the same George Hill LeBron pick and roll that got Love and JR some open threes. The Cavs had 10 points in their first 4 possessions to start the game, and they were executing on defensively as well. I mean, you could clearly see that this was a desperation game for the Cavs here in the first few minutes. They were sagging off Draymond, which is a viably good strategy, and also just getting into them, just being really physical, body to body, doing a lot of those things that really showed the energy of the Cavs to start the game, especially defensively. So that was one of the things that I saw specifically. A couple bad Golden State turnovers attributed to that as well. One, I think there was offensive 3 seconds in the paint. I can't remember who that was. And then Durant actually got called for a carry in transition as well. So a couple of those led to an early Cavs start where they got off to a 14-4 start with 7:57 to go in the first quarter. So, like I said, good start for the Cavs. They had everything going and was even able to draw a couple fouls on Stephen Curry. So really not much at all that wasn't going well for the Cavs in the first. And then we saw Andre Iguodala come back in the 6-minute mark, so right at the halfway point, and he was making a bit of a difference. It was good to just kind of see him out there. You could see that when Andre Iguodala is out there, you don't have the weak link to attack as much on the other end, whether that be a Kevon Looney, who we saw absolutely 0 minutes in this game, whether it be a Nick Young or some other weak link. You saw that wasn't something that was a viable strategy to attack because Iggy, being the defender that he is, such great hands, even won a 2015 Finals MVP for the way he defended LeBron. So you can definitely see that just having him in there, whether there was a tactical difference or not, it was just almost psychologically knowing that you couldn't go at him because of the reputation he's built on defense. So Tristan Thompson as well had a great first quarter. He was really on the glass, and I guess I should have mentioned this earlier, but that was one of the big things for the Cavs to start this game. Is their work on the glass was absolutely incredible. They were, and Tristan Thompson was spearheading that, so he was getting the Cavs second chance opportunities, lots of good looks in the paint in the restricted area for the Cavs in the first quarter, and that really again contributed to them getting some really good looks. A lot of them were in the paint, and if they weren't in the paint, they were wide open spot up shots from three-point land, courtesy of LeBron James for most of them. So really good quarter to start the Cavs. And then the Warriors started coming back a little bit. A Curry layup, which was a rare bucket in this game, and we'll get to that in a second. Curry bucket driving by Kevin Love forced a timeout for the Cavs, and that was 22-14 Cavs lead with 3:30 to go. And then the Cavs, they started, I don't want to say falling apart, but definitely not executing on the same level that they were earlier in the quarter. So a couple bad turnovers, some miscommunications, especially from J.R. Smith. He was absolutely atrocious on defense the entire game, whether it was in pick and roll, whether it was guarding on ball, whether it was just sleeping on the weak side on defense. He just seemed to be getting attacked from every possible angle you can imagine. So that definitely was not good whatsoever. A couple threes late in the quarter from the Warriors got the Warriors back into the game. KD hit one in right in Jeff Green's face. He had been doing that all night. And Klay Thompson with a relocation 3, one of the rare ones in this game. And we'll get to how the Cavs defended that action later as well. But he got a 3 off that as well after a nice behind the back pass from Iggy. So only 7 points in the last 3.5 minutes of the quarter for the Cavs, and the quarter ended at 29-28 with the Cavs lead. Again, so Cavs started off some great defense, some good offense, then started to taper off. Again, Tristan Thompson, big on the glass, was able to get a lot of extra possessions for Cleveland, and help them get some easy buckets against Golden State. And then the only guy that was actually keeping them in it was Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant, he was 4 of 4 for 13 points and had 7 rebounds in the first quarter. 2 of his buckets were threes in the face of the defender, just didn't bother him whatsoever. And that was definitely a few times KD got some good shots like that, but it all started because of the way KD got his first few shots. He caught it in the paint, and again, we touched on this on the Game 2 post-game breakdown, is he was able to catch the ball deep, and so it doesn't matter how good defense you're playing when KD's taking fadeaways in the paint, just outside the paint. Just those deep catches are allowing him to get a nice rhythm through those mid-range jump shots, and then it starts carrying over into the threes. And once you're in a rhythm, once you have that water turned on, it's tough to turn it off no matter who's guarding him. So that was really the first portion of KD's big night, was started in the first, where he was perfect. Again, 13 points on 4 shots, is stupid, ridiculous efficiency. So big time quarter from Kevin Durant there. And then another story for Cleveland in this game was Rodney Hood. We mentioned me and Nick mentioned that we'd like to see a little bit more Rodney Hood in this game. And it's good that we got to see him. The Jordan Clarkson minutes got absolutely cut. He didn't see a single second on the floor in this game, and we replaced that with Rodney Hood. And Rodney Hood was very good. In all honesty, he had contested a few shots at the rim in the beginning of the quarter with about 10:30 to go. He contested a shot at the rim and took back and took the ball down the court, and then I was actually able to get a mid-range 2 off some weird miscommunication defense for Golden State, and then the Warriors on the defensive glass was just a major issue to start. They were again, a lot of extra possessions were being grabbed off of just offensive rebounds, and then LeBron was able to drive to the rim for a 6-0 Cav run, which forced the Warriors timeout, which was a 35-28 Cavs lead with 9:30 to go. And at that point, LeBron had 10 points, 5 of 6 rebounds. So again, you could tell that Cleveland really was. We got our first comment from Veal Warriors in 5. Thank you. You're my first commenter, so appreciate you joining the pod. We'll talk about some of our predictions. That was my prediction for the series as well, just for what it's worth. So thank you for that. Appreciate the interaction. But yeah, so at this point, it was a lot of Cavs doing good things. You really felt like the Cavs, okay, maybe they had figured something out here. They were, again, staying attached to those relocation actions that Curry got a lot of in the last game, and that was really helping them as well. And Rodney Hood was giving them a big boost on defense. I think he had 2 blocks in that second quarter, and he was knocking down his shots, which was great. And it wasn't threes. I think he was 0-1 for 3, but what he was able to do is attack off the dribble. So it wasn't necessarily attacking closeouts, but he goes into his jab step series and then was able to take the ball left and right and get into that stop on a dime pull up that he is so good at. And did a great job on that end in terms of getting buckets. So that was a great game from Rodney Hood. It's too bad it came in a losing effort, but it was great to see that he was getting some minutes. Another thing I saw from the Warriors that started hurting the Cavs is the short roll started hurting the Cavs. And by short roll, I mean, so you would have, I'm not exactly sure who was in the action, but just for example, you'd have a Curry KD pick and roll, and KD would dive to the basket off the roll man, and he's just almost a decoy. So that brings the help side man down to have to guard KD, because obviously KD rolling to the rim is such a threat. So what they would do in that scenario is actually throw the ball back out to Draymond, and Draymond would then have the ability to tack downhill because no one was guarding him at the 3-point line, and rightfully they shouldn't. I don't think he made a 3 or a jump shot the entire game. And he was able to make decisions going downhill with a full head of steam from the 3-point line. And that was costing the Cavs some easy buckets. I think he had a couple lobs, one to JaVale, one to Jordan Bell, who replaced all of Kevon Looney's minutes at center tonight. And he was really starting to hurt them a little bit. And then, but again, LeBron and the Cavs kept scoring consistently. They were doing well on that front. And then after the LeBron transition layup, Golden State had called a timeout, and it was 42-34 Cavs with 6:40 to go in the quarter. And at this point, Golden State had only 6 points to this point. So it was really weird. Again, they were up 8 points, and it felt like, again, the Cavs really had something going here. Really felt like they had something that was sustainable in terms of offense and being able to get into them on defense. And the Cavs, with 5:20 to go in the second half, had actually 10 offensive rebounds. 10 offensive rebounds with 5:20 to go in the second quarter. And that is just incredible. And as we'll see at the halftime shot charts and stuff like that, that was where a lot of the Cleveland's offense was coming from. Those putbacks where it's just easy buckets. When you're keeping balls alive, those rebounds just tend to end up in the paint for easy buckets, and that's what was doing wonders for the Cavs offense, at least in the first half. Kevin Love also had a nice first half. Again, I mentioned he made a couple catch and shoot threes. He had 10 points with 9 rebounds, and 2 of those were offensive as well. He had a couple 3 catch and shoot triples in the second half. But the story of this game, it's a theme, I guess, is Kevin Durant just kept keeping them in it. And he was just getting to the rim, scoring in the mid-range, able to hit from downtown. And he had 24 points there in the second half. And another thing that happened too is Iggy, noticeably hampered by a tweaked knee. He actually tried to go and finish over Tristan Thompson at the rim and just kind of tweaked his knee a little bit there. And that kind of hampered him for the rest of the game, even though he played some minutes in the second half. So the second quarter score, 29-24. I'm not sure. I didn't actually write down who won that quarter. I believe the Cavs won that quarter. They did, 29-24. And the halftime score was 58-52. So let's just dive into just a couple quick halftime stats here. 58-52 at the half. KD was 7 of 10 for 24 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and he was 3 of 4 from 3. And a staggering stat, and makes me wonder how the Warriors won this game, is that all the other Golden State Warrior All-Stars at the half were only 4 of 19. Curry specifically, 1 of 8, 0 of 5 from 3. He had an absolutely abysmal game, and we'll get into his stats at the end. But 7 turnovers for the Golden State Warriors, and they only had 7 points off the 8 Cavs turnovers in that first half, as well as only 16 rebounds. They were able to shoot, let's see the shot chart here, 44% from downtown. A lot of misses from the right side of the floor, looking like here, but a lot of good ones in the restricted area as well. So Cleveland, LeBron at the half has 7 of 15. He had 14 points, 9 assists, 6 rebounds. Kevin Love was 6 of 10. He had 15 points, 10 rebounds, 3 of 5 from downtown. That was, again, pretty crucial. Rodney Hood, 3 of 4 from the field. He had 6 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 blocks at the half. He was awesome. And a big stat that I think speaks to what the Cavs were doing in the first half is the 48% offensive rebound percentage. 48%, like that is staggering to me. And also another thing for Cleveland, and I'm sure a lot of you noticed this, is that Cleveland had 0 free throws in the first half. Not a single free throw from Cleveland in the first half. That was really staggering to me. And they were able to get 14 points off 8 Golden State Warrior turnovers, and they did have 28 rebounds to Golden State 16, and 10 of those, as I mentioned, were offensive. So the Cavs were able to shoot 49% from the field, and I'm just counting the makes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 6. So they were 6 of 12 from downtown, so great shooting percentage. And as expected, the role players really came out and played well. JR on offense, at least in the first quarter, had a great game, although I mentioned he was abysmal defensively. Rodney Hood had a great game. He was definitely the 3rd best player on the floor. Kevin Love did have a great game as well. And Larry Nance had some good minutes. He was had some opportune duck-ins and was able to defend a couple possessions at a high level too. So the role players were playing well. And so now diving into the third quarter is when I think Cleveland really kind of got their butts kicked, for lack of a better word. So LeBron starts off the quarter with the first shooting foul of the entire game. He had a floater going downhill, and that was the only points that they were able to get for a while, as the Warriors went on a 15-3 run with 7:44 ending at 7:44 left in the quarter. So only 3 points in about the span of 4 and a little bit of minutes. And that really cost the Cavs in the end. I mean, that drought really didn't help them whatsoever. JaVale McGee was a big proponent in that run as well. He had 3 easy buckets at the rim, as well as contesting shots at the rim. KD had hit another three in that stretch as well too. And by the time the run was over, it was 69-64 for the Warriors with 7:44 to go. So this is where Warriors really started taking control. And it just wasn't good. 17-6 run after a little bit, and then Draymond actually got caught with some bad help on some back-to-back threes, and then Cleveland was able to cut it to a tie game 72-72 with 5 minutes left in the third. And so you felt like, okay, we're getting back to what was a game again, and but it just felt like, and I mentioned in the last pod as well, is that Golden State was answering every Cleveland bucket that felt like, okay, they're scoring, they're trying to get back in this game, maybe trying to take a lead, and Golden State was just not letting that happen at all. Oh yeah, another thing I wanted to mention too is that it seems like Golden State was doing a lot more trapping, and it didn't really seem to matter who it was that had the ball. Whoever, any sort of mismatch that they had in terms of what they could take advantage of was seen with the Golden State trap, and the Cavs did a great job of swinging the ball out of there and were able to generate some open looks, even though not all of them went down. But whether that be some opportune duck-ins from Tristan Thompson and Larry Nance, especially in the first half there, they were able to get some easy buckets on that. And it didn't seem like the Warriors wanted to do anything else. It seemed like they were very content with that strategy, and they just kept doing it. And there was times where it worked, times where it didn't, but nonetheless, that was the strategy that they employed. Another Rodney Hood mid-ranger forced a Warriors timeout, and the Cavs actually had the lead 79-78. The Warriors had the lead 79-78 with 2:39 to go. At this point, JR, as I mentioned a few times now, had been stupid bad on D, and he was directly responsible for at least 6 to 8 points in that quarter alone. And at the end of the third quarter score was 31-23 for Golden State, and the total score was 83-81 Golden State after three. So in that quarter, Golden State shot 59% and almost all in the restricted area, other than one mid-ranger and 3 triples. So 9 of 14 in the restricted area and the deep paint. Like that's going to kill you in any single quarter if you're giving up 14 shots right at the rim like that. And so that was a detriment to the Cavs, and a big change for the Warriors as well. That really helped them get back in this game was they did not give up not a single offensive rebound in the third quarter after the Cavs had 10 in the first half. And at this point, KD has 34 points and 13 rebounds as well. So diving into the fourth quarter now, a relocation three from Curry got defended super well. I don't remember who it was. I think it was Nance and Rodney Hood that trapped him in the corner for a turnover. And Curry wasn't able, other than Thompson getting one, Curry wasn't able to get anything going whatsoever. And I think part of the reason was the ability for Cleveland to trap these relocation threes that we discussed in the last breakdown of game 2. He really didn't get any of those. And the physicality of staying attached to him, not really switching and things like that, really helped a lot for Cleveland against Golden State. So moving on with the quarter here, Rodney Hood was able to have be more aggressive in the fourth. He really had some aggressive minutes there. And Kyle Korver was just invisible in this game. I did not see anything from Kyle Korver. I think the only thing I remember is just him shooting bricks, and he actually was forced into travel after a great Draymond Green contest where he just gave up a turnover. So not a great game at all from Kyle Korver. At this point, KD is still unstoppable. The looks he's getting are absolutely stupid good. He's catching deep in the paint. He's already got the rhythm going by this point, so he's easily shooting over guys like Jeff Green and George Hill off the dribble on the perimeter. And one thing for LeBron, I know we didn't mention him a lot. We'll get to his stats at the end. Not a lot of clutch play from LeBron James in this fourth quarter. There was nothing I saw. I mean, he did take a couple aggressive shots down the stretch, but nothing to me that really stood out from LeBron James as being, at least in the fourth quarter, as being overly aggressive to the point where he was taking the game over. But that being said, other than a couple bad takes down the stretch in the fourth, he really wasn't settling in here in the fourth. He had Draymond on him a lot of times, and usually when you have Draymond on you, taking him all the way to the cup isn't the best idea, but it didn't matter. LeBron was content getting to the rim, getting great shots, and the Warriors had a lot of active hands in this game, especially when the Cavs are able to get the ball into the paint. You see a lot of Warriors there slapping at the ball, trying to get strips, and it was tough down the stretch for Cleveland to try and finish in the paint with all the Golden State Warriors activity there. So down the stretch, we have Iggy getting an easy layup with about 6:05 to go, and then a timeout from the Cavs, and it was 93-92 Cavs down the stretch here. So at this point, Curry had not found the touch at all. I think he finished like 3 of 16 or something ridiculous, and I think he was only 1 of 14 to this point. So a bit more time elapsed, and then Cleveland takes a timeout with 3:19 to go, and this is where I want to kind of go in closer to possession by possession. So Cleveland takes a timeout with 3:19 to go, and then the Golden State is up 196-95 at this point. So KD has 40 at this point. He was scoring, don't get me wrong. He's getting buckets, but at this point, Cavs are making it a lot harder for him. So he was able to, again, the water was running, so it seemed like he was just absolutely unguardable. But a lot of the defense on Kevin Durant late in the fourth, I thought, was pretty good, all things considered, especially in his one-on-one matchup. So at this point, the Cavs had shot 4 of 12 at this point, and Golden State has shot 6 of 14. And neither team, I think, shot above 30% from downtown in this game. So the three-pointer wasn't a big detriment in this game. It was more of just half-court, not really half-court execution, but 2-point execution in terms of being able to finish in the mid-range and around the rim because, like I said, nothing was going down from three-point land for either team. So here we go. So 3:19 left. My first question is, why is JR still in the game instead of George Hill? As I mentioned, he was absolutely atrocious on defense. George Hill had been hitting some open threes and is generally just a better defender and shooter and pretty much everything at this point than J.R. Smith. So no idea why he was in the game at that point. So they get a possession, and the Cavs, for some reason, chose to go to Kevin Love on the block against Andre Iguodala, and that's not really an advantage matchup for anybody. I mean, I was listening to the Twitter NBA show with Nate Duncan, Danny LaRue. Shout out to those two guys. They do excellent work, and I would advise anybody who's looking to learn more about basketball in game to check them out. They mentioned they were just questioning, and I totally agreed with them as to why they went to Kevin Love on the block against Iggy. So what happened was Kevin Love went on the block. He tried to go do an up and under around the rim, and he actually got stripped. And this led to a big-time shot from Stephen Curry, where he was able to just do a nice little behind-the-back dribble, lost everybody, and the three was just about as wide open as you can get, and he wasn't guarded by a soul within at least 20 feet. So Curry actually hits that one, big-time shot from Curry, as he had been, again, 1 of 14 up to that point. And then they traded some misses, and LeBron was able to hit a big time 3 with 2 minutes to go to go up, cut the score to 1 at 101-100. And so down the stretch here. So now the Cavs strategy, you can see now that KD has the water going, is we do not want Kevin Love on Kevin Love on Kevin Durant whatsoever. That's not an advantage matchup for Kevin Love. Kevin Durant had just been cooking him the whole game. And so when KD tried to bring Andre Iguodala, who was Kevin Love's man, into the pick and roll, you saw a concerted effort for LeBron to try and stay attached to KD and not force the low resistance switch. And that's another thing we mentioned in the game 2 breakdown, is that these low resistance switches where we're giving advantage matchups to the offensive players of Golden State was not working for Cleveland at all. And so it was good to see at least that, okay, they're not going to switch. They want LeBron, which is realistically their best defender down the stretch against KD. But so the problem is that once I'm not sure what happened, but I guess LeBron actually got caught in the pick as they were trying to play more conventional pick and roll defense. And LeBron got caught in the pick, and I guess Love failed to communicate the switch, and KD was able to lob it into Andre Iguodala, who was able to just get a huge dunk. And that put them up 103-100. And even to this point, it's not over yet, right? But this is where LeBron took a couple bad shots, in my opinion. I know, it's it's tough to say if they were bad shots or not, just considering the circumstances, who you are, what you're playing for. Game 3 of the NBA Finals, this is essentially a must-win game. And so that deep 3 from LeBron, down 3, in most scenarios is a bad shot to me. And I hate to try and justify it through LeBron's greatness or through the circumstances, but that's what it felt to me, is that there's a couple bad shots from LeBron down the stretch. And then Kevin Durant once again was able late in the clock to hit what was very similar to a 2017 Game 3 dagger on the left wing that he hit against LeBron in 2017. He did pretty much hit the exact same shot, maybe a little deeper out this time around, but the exact same shot this time around. And that was an absolute dagger three. That put the game away. 43 points on 15 of 23 shooting for Kevin Durant. And then down the stretch, again, they were before this KD3 to put them up 7. I think they were the Warriors were only up 4, and it was the time was ticking down. I think it was under a minute left, and the Cavs showed no idea what they were doing on defense. There was no clear-cut strategy as to how they were going to defend this possession. Like LeBron was just kind of letting KD walk the ball up the court, and obviously KD's just going to milk it. He's up 4. With about 40 seconds left, you just milk the 24-second shot clock, and then I guess finally with a little bit of time left in the clock, they tried to pressure up, and then I'm pretty sure it was, I can't remember if it was, I think it was Draymond was able to get a backdoor cut and then an easy uncontested dunk, and that really put the game away. So a 25-21 Warriors win in that quarter, and again 100-102 Warrior final to take them up 3-0 in the series. Tough to say where we go from here. I mean, obviously it feels like Golden State is going to win this, whether it be on Friday or in a 5th game at home, but it's just tough. It doesn't seem like we're seeing much difference from the 2017 Cavs team to this Cavs team. A lot of the same mistakes, especially defensively, and so it's just tough to see anyway. Obviously, but it's just tough to see anyway that they win this series at this point. Unfortunately, so let's go to the final game shot charts here. I'm just going to pull that up real quick. Just want to address Veal's comment too. He says, "Feel bad for LeBron. Warriors have to have too much firepower." Shaking my head. Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, there's not really much you can do. I mean, this is where you really miss Kyrie Irving, a guy that is able to get you a bucket, be a second scorer, a guy that can really just create off the dribble. And there's pretty much nobody in the league that can guard him. You miss a guy like that at this point in the series. Definitely, I totally agree with that. Okay, let's take a look. Come on, NBA stats. What are you doing? Sorry, guys, just give me a second. If you have any more comments, shoot them in. I'll try to answer any questions or anything like that while we got it there. Okay, so Golden State shot 51% from the field, and the Cavs only shot 43.5%. So I mean that's part of the difference right there. Let's pull up the box score here, see what we can kind of pull from this. So Warriors shot great from the line, 17 of 19 from the line, where the Cavs, after not shooting any in the first, were able to get it going a little bit, 13 of 17. So after the not shooting a single free throw in the first half, I think that was a good job for the Cavs to kind of get to the line a little bit more. 9 of 31 from downtown for only 29% for the Cavs, and 9 of 26. Oh, okay, so they were over 50%. 9 of 26 for the Warriors, who shot 34% from downtown. LeBron James, 46, pretty much 47 minutes. Again, I guess we're getting used to playing him the whole game, which is still absolutely ridiculous. 33 points for LeBron on 13 of 28 shooting, 46%. Only 1 of 6 from downtown. That was the 1-3 at the end of the game that he was able to hit to cut it to 1. 6 of 7 from the line, as well as 10 rebounds and 11 assists. So he did get that triple-double, and he had 2 steals and 2 blocks as well, but he was a -8 for the game. Oddly enough, I'll just go to the George Hill stats. Oddly enough, George Hill had the worst plus-minus on the team at -12, but like I mentioned, had an excellent game, 15 points, no steals, but he had 2 blocks, 6 total rebounds. Let's see, 1 or 2 from the line. He missed his only 3 and shot 7-11, so 63%. So great game from him. As I mentioned, Kyle Korver, absolutely invisible. Just under 11 minutes, he was 0 of 4, 0 of 2 from downtown. 2 rebounds and a turnover and a foul. That's it. That's all I got there from Kyle Korver. And Stephen Curry here. Steph Curry, super weird game for him. I can't believe this. 3 of 16 from the field, only 18% shooting. He was 1 of 10 from downtown. And again, that only 3 was the one that put the game, helped put the game away, I should say. 4 of 4 from the line. He had 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 turnovers, a steal for only 11 points, but he was even in the plus minus category. Trying to see where else. Draymond, JaVale, and Klay Thompson all had 10 points. Draymond being 4 of 8, JaVale 5 of 7, Klay 4 of 11. And let's see if they got any other contributions here. Yeah, Iguodala and Livingston had 8 each as well. Again, Livingston, I think, missed his first shot in the series. Unbelievable. I think it was like 8 of 8 in the first 2 games. He missed his first shot. He was 4 of 5 in this game as well. So, yeah, I just it's tough for me to just kind of make any additional adjustments. If you're the Cavs, I mean, you're just simply outmatched. It feels like at this point. It sucks that it took this long for Ty Lue to figure out that Jordan Clarkson minutes should have been replaced with Rodney Hood. I got a feeling that those Rodney Hood minutes in the first couple games would have helped at least, maybe, especially in that first game, may have helped them get a win. And now we're looking at a totally different series, but. That's just the nature of the game sometimes, especially when you can't trust the guys, can't trust your players in previous games. It's tough to bring them out in the finals, and so there is some merit to that, and I do understand that as well. But yeah, just again, tough game for the Cavs. And Golden State most likely going to win 3 of the last 4 finals, and we'll have to see. I guess obviously this is going to have a big impact on LeBron James' free agency. I can't imagine if he gets swept that the chances of him coming back to Cleveland are very high. And for the Warriors, they're obviously willing to pay the luxury tax. They want to bring back all those guys. I think they have 1 more year before they're paying the repeater tax. So we'll have to see how they kind of shake up their roster, see if they can get a couple more value guys on the minimum maybe or something like that. But yeah, it sucks for me to be talking about the offseason so early, but that's just the way it is because, as we know, no team has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit in any playoffs, let alone the finals in the NBA. So, yeah, I guess that will wrap it up. Good to see a competitive game, but tough to see the Cavs execute as poorly as they did down the stretch, offensively and defensively. Would like to see something better from that end, but 100-102 Warrior final. Looks like the Warriors will win the chip, but nonetheless, we will be back Friday night for Game 4. Hopefully we can get another game. I want this season to last as long as possible. I can't wait till October to have another NBA game again. So let's hope that this series lasts as long as possible. But nonetheless, we will be back for every game that this series has to offer. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for a couple of comments, especially Veal here. Appreciate the interaction. And we will see you guys on Friday. Have a good one.